Hello everyone and welcome back to worrycare Happiness Talks. Today we'll be talking about a number of parenting styles. So sir, could you explain what are parenting styles?
Before I answer your question, I'll ask you a question. As a child, what do you expect from your parents? How they should take care of you or how they should treat you? What do you expect? You tell me.
Take care, obviously, with a lot of love, a lot of affection, compassion, attention, and freedom also at the same time as children.
Freedom.
Yes.
All the children want freedom, but then freedom without limits and boundaries or freedom with limits?
I think freedom with limits, maybe, or sometimes also freedom without limits. As a child, it's hard to distinguish between the two.
Actually, parents are quite confused. Whether we should give full freedom or we should set boundaries or limits.
Right.
You know, Tanya, everything around us is changing very fast as compared to before. When we were children, in our village only one person used to have a telephone. You know this 1, 2, 3 system, the telephone?
One.
Yeah. And he used to call everyone in the village whenever a phone
I've
comes to his house.
I've heard stories from my parents.
Yeah, he used to go around and in fact, he never used to get peace because he had to go around and call everyone when the call comes and all. But now you know, a revolution, mobile, internet, information all around, artificial intelligence, lot of changes. Technology especially is changing like anything.
Right.
So what happens, you know, in a family itself, parent may have to use different parenting styles to their children if they are born maybe 2 or 3 years apart. One of my friends made an interesting observation. He has got 3 children. So each child is about 2 years apart. The younger one is almost 4 years younger as compared to the eldest one. So he was telling me their behavioral pattern is completely different, each one. So in these 2 years, a lot of changes have happened, and when they grow up, that changes reflect in their behavior.
Right.
I would like to rather use a different term over here instead of parenting styles. I would like to say strategic parenting.
Okay.
There should be a strategy for each child. You are a psychology student, so you know about permissive parenting.
Yes.
So nowadays I've seen most of the parents actually want to give more freedom to their children because they want to avoid conflicts.
Yes.
And conflicts happen in most of the families nowadays because parents were born and brought up in a different way.
Yes.
Their parents were very authoritarian. I will come to that point later on. So parents used to listen to their parents and they never used to ask any questions back. But nowadays it's different. Kids have a lot of questions.
Also.
They know about their rights and they feel I have to ask questions. So what I'm telling you, this results in a lot of conflicts. So in order to avoid conflicts, most of the parents feel let him do what he wants.
Yeah.
And that's not a good strategy. In this case, the parent is not demanding at all. You can do anything you want. I'll give an example. The child wants to have more screen time, let it be. So you give permission for anything and everything. But what happens, there will not be any conflict.
Right.
They feel there is peace in the family. But in the long run, what happens, when this child gets out of his house, when he becomes a part of the community, that time he will face a lot of problems because the child takes everything for granted.
Very true.
The child is not aware or conscious of any rules and regulations or limits or boundaries.
He does not have anyone to put restrictions on him.
He doesn't want, that's correct. He doesn't want to put any restrictions on him because at home there were no restrictions.
Yes.
So what will happen when you go to school? Obviously there will be rules and regulations, and the moment restrictions are put on him, conflict begins.
Yes.
Then he becomes aggressive, arrogant, and what will happen when a child becomes aggressive and arrogant in a classroom? When he goes to the society, he will find it very difficult to coexist.
Yes, that's true.
So that means permissive parenting is not a good strategy. Yes. See, exactly opposite to this is authoritarian parents. And when we were children, most of the parents were authoritarian. There is a lot of difference between authoritarian and authoritative parenting. These are totally different concepts. So, authoritarian parents are exactly opposite to permissive parent. They believe in only obeying. when they order anything. And if you're not obeying, punishment.
Drastic consequences.
Drastic consequences. You said it very rightly.
Yes.
So I will order and you obey. They don't listen to their children. They're very demanding. Whereas permissive parents were not demanding at all. So it's
Opposite.
drastically opposite actually. Here they set the rules and you have to obey.
Right.
So authoritarian parents can be very aggressive also.
Yes.
Sometimes they punish physically also, which is not good at all, especially in an era where we are living, where the child is aware of what's happening around him and what rights he has. It's not good to punish the child, and that too sometimes in a very brutal way. We read in newspapers or we see in
Physical
television and
abuse
all
also.
physical punishments. And most of these parents, you can see their parents were authoritarian at one point of time. So they feel, my parent was very strict with me, but I became successful.
Yes.
So now this child is behaving in a totally different way. I was not like this. He's asking questions or he's saying no to what I'm saying.
Yes.
How can I accept that part? But he is not able to understand that time and this time is totally different. Everything has changed.
Generational gap already.
Everything has changed. But he has not changed. His way of looking at
Yes.
things has not changed. And when you become more and more authoritarian, the children will become more and more rigid,
Yes.
aggressive. They will start hating everything around. So if you check the behavior of a lot of students who are aggressive or aloof and all, you can see one reason is authoritarian parenting. So permissive parenting to an extent may be fine, but it can create a lot of
Yes.
negative impact on the child's behavior later on. I told you, authoritarian parenting is worse actually as compared to permissive parenting.
So no permissive, no authoritarian. So what is the ideal parenting style that you would suggest?
That's a difficult question to answer because there is nothing as such as ideal parenting, I think. I told you it should be subjective.
Yes.
Child to child, it should vary. I feel a parent should be caring, that's the first part. But he has to set limits and boundaries. So important. Especially when the child is not in a position to take decisions on his own, the parent should take decisions on his behalf, but obviously in consultation with the child.
Yes.
So you have to listen to your child and you can discuss with your child. If the child asks something, what are the pros and what are the cons and all, you can discuss with the
Yes.
child. I think it should be democratic parenting. Discussions, it's fine, but since the child is quite young to take his own decisions, obviously children of the present era, they have more information because of internet and all, but most of them may not be mature enough to take some concrete decisions. So parents should be always there, and there should be limits and boundaries because the child will ultimately become the part of a society.
Yes.
So the child should know, I have to follow certain rules and regulations. And studies especially, you know, to get a job we require certificates. It's as simple as that. So till the time the system works in the way it works now,
Yes.
we have to study, we have to get certificates. Many people believe formal education is not necessary. That may be for someone who may have the resources to start something of his own.
Yes.
To get a job, especially in our country, you know, we have to show the certificates
Certificate.
first. They ask for the skill later on, first the certificates.
Education.
You do not have the certificates, the gates will be closed. So the children, they have to study, and what happens while they are studying, a lot of distractions will be there because of the changes around technology. So there will be Instagram, there will be Facebook, there will be internet, there will be a lot of different things, friends, all those things. Fine, you can have it. Do not say no to it.
Yes.
Authoritarian parents, they always say no to it.
Restrictions.
Restrictions completely. Here you don't say no to it, but you have to use it with
Yes.
restrictions. So you cannot ignore study completely as a student and you
Limits
can
me.
indulge in things which you like to do. Not possible. You can have screen time, but there should be limitations.
Yes.
And you tell the child why this is required. You have to explain why I'm taking such an action, and the children will understand. So it's very important to communicate with the child also. So I feel it should be authoritative. You understood the
Yes.
difference between authoritarian and authoritative?
authority.
Should be authoritative, where you give the child a voice to express his opinions. If it's good, you take it, otherwise you explain to the child, not good for you. You have to follow this, and you have to follow.
You act as a guide. for the
Act as a
child.
guide, obviously, but a strict guide in certain cases.
Yes.
So basically, when you do this, your child understands, I'm getting support from my parents. At the same time, I know I cannot cross the limits.
Yes.
So I think it's a mixture of all parenting together.
styles
Take
together.
the good things, be caring, share with your children your views, and be ready to listen to your child.
Yes.
Be very supportive, and allow the child to indulge in things which he like to do, his hobbies and interests to an extent.
Right.
But till the time the child is not independent, you have to set limits and
Yes.
boundaries.
Very true.
So I am a person who believes a parent who cares and shares and be a part of the child's life, actually appreciate in between, give attention, as we told before in our first video.
Yes.
I think the child will be very happy with the parenting.
Very true.
So take the good things and be a part of your child's life. Be there always.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir. I think you coined a new term today, strategic parenting. And I'm pretty sure that this is going to enlighten a lot of parents out there. And even though I'm not a parent yet, I'm certain or I hope that I make a wonderful one because of all of the insights that I'm gaining through you. So thank you again. For more such insightful videos, please do subscribe to our channel worrycare, and see you soon with more such happiness talks.